I have a feeling there's a potential that we're in for a bit of a long, not necessarily a long series, but maybe very long games here, knowing how Demi likes to play ZvT. But regardless, we are going to be kicking things off here on Data Handarasi. In the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, we of course have the blue-red Zug player coming out from the Jewel of India. He, of course, is the Shark himself, representing Alpha X. He is Demi.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Data Under the Sea, we have the Malaysian Terran player himself representing Team GDA. It is ZAN.
What do we have planned in this standard opening so far? I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed that we don't see proxies right off the bat, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so as we get into this game, obviously we were talking about it before, Demi is the clear favorite. You were even alluding to it. Demi isn't even necessarily a TC player. He does kind of lean in towards a more macro-oriented style. But just because of that, like, I don't know, like, I do still worry here for ZAN. I do still feel like the pressure is on ZAN to try and mix things up instead. You know, as a Terran player, I know that he does have plenty of builds at his disposal, kind of in an Azure way. Like, there are plenty of ways to go about this. You know, we can go for Hellbat pushes, we can go for Hellbat Marauder timings, we can go for Ghosts, we can go for BC openers. Something to try and catch Demi off guard.
And so far, that's going to be an SCV to catch him off guard. Probably not.
Yeah, ZAN does go for an SCV scout, just confirming that it is going to be a hatch first, so just doesn't want to get cheesed out, not by a pro player. You know, there's no early pool or anything crazy like that.
There is, however, going to be a... No, never mind. I guess that drone is just there to try to mess up the pathing for the Reaper, question mark?
I was just hiding from the Reaper, in case the Reaper went for the triangular third first.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so just
that makes sense.
Making sure it is safe and hidden from that Reaper, and you can get the third base on time on location. Meanwhile, the Reaper does dance here with these links and already picks up one link. Not bad. Up.
Yeah, nice bit of control here. Does have to be a little bit more careful. The Reaper is insanely low, but ZAN will confirm that's the third base. Demi is playing macro.
Yeah, we have the third base on time, on location. ZAN is still just kind of poking and prodding. At a certain point, he may even try and dive into the main base. Oh, he has to be careful here, not to fly too close to that queen.
Yeah, the queen's too hot. You don't want to melt.
Excuse me?
You heard me.
Oh god, exactly. And so far out of Demi, again, everything's a little bit standard. The Reaper will go down in the end. But you could argue that ZAN saw everything that he needed to see.
Yeah. And if there's anything else that if there's anything else that he has to potentially take note of, that's what the follow-up Hellions and probably Liberator, but maybe Banshees are going to be for.
Oh, yes, we did have a more straight-up 1-1-1 opener. No third CC before Starport here coming out from ZAN. So, yeah, Demi's going to be able to dip on in, and he should be able to see this. Unfortunately, the Marines aren't in position to deny this Overlord Scout.
Yeah, not quite yet, anyway. The Viking will pop out, and we'll be able to deal with this Overlord, but not before Demi confirms. That is 3 Raxes. That is a 1-1-1 opening you went for. I have to worry about nothing but Marines, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. The other interesting thing is that, again, we had a very low commitment into these Hellions as well. Only 4 Hellions in the middle of said map. From here, we should be getting into a Liberator, but we'll see what ZAN decides to do after incorporating this Viking to clear out as many Overlords as possible.
Yeah, he's not producing anything from that Starport, just keeping my eyes on the murals over there. He may decide to just swap the add-on. That's exactly what he's planning to do. No? What?
Yeah.
Oh, it's for the rack?
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah, it's for the racks.
But why?
Yeah, this is really for more Marines, clearly. So
That makes sense.
yeah, this is kind of shaping up in a really interesting way because, mate, we have 2 more Raxes hidden behind the natural base. We only have 1 engineering bay for +1. We are seeing the beginnings of a 2-base all-in.
Yeah, I was wondering where the 3rd base was going to be for ZAN here, but I saw that eBay being thrown down. The answer is, it doesn't exist. It will never exist, at least not on data under the sea.
Oh, exactly. So ZAN wants to hit that that +1 timing. I almost said 1-1, but no, again, there is only 1 engineering bay. He's working on as many Marines as possible, very light on those Hellions, going straight to those tanks. I imagine he wants to push out as soon as he gets his first 2 medevacs, depending on how it's lined up here with the upgrade. But Demi does have a Ling in position. He does have eyes, or he's trying to get eyes on whether or not there is ever going to be a 3rd.
Yeah, as much as I find this composition a little bit weird coming out from ZAN, it is timed out very, very well. +1 is about to finish up pretty soon. Combat shields should line up, assuming he moves out with his medevacs. Combat shields should finish just before the fight begins.
Yeah, it should finish up just as he moves out here. The first medevacs come out, and there we go. ZAN is going to pull the trigger. The Ling was cleaned up, by the way, so Demi has very limited vision right now, but he hasn't joined up too much. He's working on his 3rd hatchery. He's up to, what, 62 workers, which is perfectly fine. He does have an additional gas, which you could argue isn't quite necessary right now, but with that, he can just make more and more Ling Bane. Baneling speed is on the way. We already have our lair. He is preparing for an attack.
He knows exactly what he needs to do to deal with this attack. He's got plenty of Lings to try to surround the tank if need be. This is, from the side of ZAN, this is all going to come down to positioning and micro.
Yeah, exactly. How solid are these tank positions going to be? Can he avoid being surrounded? Can he split against the Ling Bane? So far, he's clearing up a lot of this creep, but here we go. Demi's looking to pull the trigger.
And he gets an immediate surround on top of most of this bio. Still plenty of creep to work with. He is getting some beautiful connections with his Banelings. Creep speed actually finishes after the fight ends. So, yeah, now that the first and scariest wave has been dealt with, Demi should not have any trouble securing his bases or defending it pushes from here on out.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. The first push is always the scariest, but the tank count has been reset. We have a couple of Marines, we have a couple of straggling tanks rolling on in as well, but Demi just has more than enough to clean all of this up, and he forces the pickup.
Yeah, I will say an advantage from ZAN here is Demi doesn't really have much anti-air, so he can play around with his medevacs a little bit if he wants to be fancy, but still important to keep in mind, there is no 3rd CC here for ZAN. What he has is what he's got. Now he's building a CC, but he needs to do a lot more damage.
Yeah, the CC is so late. Demi even confirming here with a couple of Lings that there is no 3rd on the horizon, so he knows he just needs to make nothing but Ling Bane. Once again, he's going to get a full surround. Once again, 1 tank is not enough.
Yeah, some decent splits here, but fortunately for ZAN, this is a bit of a closed-in position. The Banelings aren't having too much trouble surrounding or connecting with all of this bio, especially with that creep spread.
Oh god, exactly. The creep spread is insane. Liberator's going to do whatever he can, but GG gets called, and Demi defends against the 2-base all-in.
Very nicely done.
Oh yeah, it's very, very clinical.
Yeah, very clinical from the side of Demi. I want to believe that his build, works and can work very, very well, but yeah, it maybe not on Data C specifically, and maybe not against a player like Demi, who is so on top of things, and so on top of scouting, and so on top of reacting to what his opponent's doing.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I'm sure this build does have a lot of success, but I think it relies a lot on keeping the Zerg player in the dark and hoping that they drone up a little bit more, hoping that they're a little bit more greedy when it comes to their tech, when it comes to their economy, when it comes to their drones. But unfortunately, Demi was able to get in pretty easily with his Overlord Scout. He saw everything pretty early on, specifically the lack of 3rd CC as an opener and the lack of a 3rd CC as a follow-up. Like, the Lings were never cleared up out of the map either. Yeah, Demi just had full vision, really.
Yeah. And that's pretty much the key here. In StarCraft in general, but especially if you're playing a Zerg.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to see. And that's why I don't play Zerg.
Yeah, like it's just one of those things where like misinformation or just hiding information from your opponent is so crucial when you're going for an all-in in whatever kind of matchup, right? But it isn't something that ZvT was really able to accomplish in that game. Maybe he can find more success the next game, or maybe he has something like a different plan altogether.
It's gonna be Proxy 4X.
Oh no.
Learning that hero with an I style.
Oh god. Oh, I forgot about Hero. I do miss him though.
Yeah. For people who are wondering what we're talking about, we're not talking about Dragon Phoenix Gaming Hero. We're not talking about Liquid Hero. We're talking about a Terran player from Singapore called Hero with an I. But regardless, we are going to be continuing our best of 3 series now on Tropical Sacrifice. We're of course in the bottom left-hand corner map, starting all the way in that bottom left-hand corner. We have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of India. He is the shark in the water, guarding that Zerg Muta triangle, representing Alpha X. He is Demi.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice, we have the Malaysian Terran player himself representing Team GDA. It is ZAN.
Okay, not quite what I was expecting, but I guess it makes sense.
Oh, how so?
We got Rax.
Oh, right. You're like, the Rax is at home, puppy. It's not across the map. What's going on? Oh my god. I mean, there are different ways that you can look at this, right? You know, when you go up against a pro player, do you want to try and test your macro against them to kind of gauge your own skill, or do we want to try and cheese them out of the goddamn tournament? We saw a little bit of a middle ground there from ZvT in the first game by going for a 2-base all-in. Are we going to see another variant of that or macro out of him on Tropical Sacrifice?
Yeah, all signs are pointing towards macro for now, but we'll see what the first couple of buildings he gets after this second base are going to be. That's really going to be the tell here.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Again, I doubt they do play often at all on the ladder, especially because Demi usually ladders on Korea, ZvT more so on the land of the Americas. So yeah, I don't know how familiar he is with him. I don't know how often he watches Demi's competitive play and his tournament runs. So I have to wonder how he's going to approach this. Personally, I would just go like 2-port BC.
Yeah. As would I. But then again, knowing Demi's penchant for spires, maybe not.
Hey, I mean, it beats Cyril, you know, why not, Bobby? Why not?
Yeah. Might as well.
We'll see. Again, it's one of those things where I don't know if ZvT is even a mech player, because 2-port BC does typically lend to go into mech as well. So just see his opener.
Yeah, another 3cc before Starport coming out from him. So still playing very economic here. Wait, did I say another 3cc before Starport coming out from him? I may be mixing it up with Pez. He did not get the 3. This is the complete opposite of what he did in game number 1.
There you go. Yeah, it is the complete opposite. ZvT actually is making a 3rd base, so we are seeing a much more standard game here. He is going to a 1-1-1 behind it. We have that Tech Lab on that Rax, and we can be seeing an add-on switch. Should be seeing an add-on switch.
Yeah. And the previous game, we thought we were going to see an add-on switch, and we did eventually, but not quite what we were expecting. There really isn't a reason to get the Tech Lab under barracks this early on, though, so it's got to be an add-on switch, right, ZvT? Right?
I mean, it should be, because otherwise you have to move the Starport. Oh my god.
Oh.
Wait. I feel like this is a fake, right? This has to be.
It's gotta be. You don't get stimmed that early. You're not gonna be able to utilize it with this build.
I mean, we'll see. Okay, the Overlord dips on in. He's going to confirm the stim for now. Do have another Marine coming out just to clean this up. And now there we... Oh, okay. No, we're committing, puppy.
Alrighty then. Yeah, a couple more Raxes do get thrown down. One of them already on top of a reactor as well, which is nice. It will mean that ZAN's going to have a lot more Marine production, and these Marines are going to be zooming across the map immediately. That's such an early stim.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because when you're going for this, it does mean that you're kind of giving up any kind of map aggression or any kind of economic aggression, right? That those Banshees do provide. So yeah, he's going to be looking to get into just a more solid army, a faster army, as he throws down Jesus 4 more Raxes.
It's
a lot of Raxes.
Yeah. We seem to have progressed from a 2-base all-in to a 3-base all-in here from ZAN.
Yeah, we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if he does go up to 8 Raxes. Similarly to Pez, right? Where Pez was going 3-base all-in against Oreo.
That's why I mixed up the players. Or the builds.
Yeah, like, this is crazy. This is what's crazy is that, I don't know if you just noticed, this starport, it went on over to make a reactor, and it's going back on over to make another reactor. Like, he only made a reactor for the Raxes just to make more Marines.
Yeah, that's not something you see every day. I get the logic behind it, right? Because you don't want to be pushing out without medevacs, but at the same time, you want to make sure that your upgrades are in order by the time you push, so you might as well just get more Marines and delay the medevacs by a little bit. But yeah, I want to see this work, but I'm not convinced it's gonna.
There we go. There is the 6th and 7th Rax, and there is the 8th Rax coming out for ZAN. He has an insane amount of Marines already because of the opener. The first 2 medevacs are going to be coming out. ZAN is looking to saturate his third, don't get us wrong, but again, he isn't necessarily looking to expand further from here. He's going to try and hit a very strong timing with 1-1.
A good old brick, as Kerwin used to describe this style. But we'll see if it's the 1-1 well, the brick, as I define it, is not so much a 1-1 push. It's a 2. You still push out with 1-1, but you're not aiming to kill the Zerg player. You're just aiming to kill 1 base. You go up to 2-2, and you then just try to max out as quickly as possible. But I've seen variants of the brick where everything is hedged on the 1-1 push and the 1-1 timing. It's a much more all-in variant, yeah.
Remember when Kerwin wasn't playing chess all the time when he was playing StarCraft?
Yeah, remember when Kerwin wasn't, like, being attacked by wild boars?
Remember when he used to smudge more often?
Yeah. I don't think he ever stopped.
Oh god, meanwhile the Marines are pushing out onto the map. Oh, decent target fire there. Does get 2 of those banelings.
Yeah, that's actually a lot less to worry about right now for ZAN, but I will tell you something he does have to worry about. These Mutalisks that have gone completely unscouted. I don't see any missile turrets on the minimap.
Boy, this is the thing, right? ZAN hasn't scouted at all. Look at his vision. He hasn't seen anything in the music coming out across the map. Demi in a longer game, in a macro game, we were focusing so much on what ZAN was up to, but Demi was just droning on up and taking into that spire.
Demi doing just #Demi things. The shark has been unleashed, and he is having a very fun time controlling these Mutalisks, especially when they face absolutely 0 resistance.
There's still no resistance, by the way, in the main base. He is forcing the all-in to be a little bit premature here. I mean, this is still hitting with 1-1, sure, but there's so much less sustainability behind this as ZAN is pushing out across the map, still down in supply. Ling Bane is waiting for him on top of the ramp.
Yeah, you do not want to go on top of that, but ZAN may not have a choice. I mean, his economy has been completely forfeit. All he has is all he's got, and he's got to make sure that it can at least do some equalized damage. But it can.
It can do some damage, but it really only damages the army of Demi as he rolls on in, and he's going to be able to clean up the entire army of ZAN. This time, Demi has anti-air.
Yeah, very nice target firing once again from ZAN, but still, we have a ton of Lings on the ground and a lot more Mutalisks where that came from. it's totally Demi can totally afford to lose all of those banelings and all of those units that he did earlier. Look at how much of a bank he has.
Yeah.
Mineral bank.
I mean, look at the drone count. Because he was left alone, because of the lack of investment into Hellions, because we didn't see a Banshee opener either, because we delayed our medevac, so we didn't have a drop to clear up creep, or even like deny some of these bases. Demi was able to drone up so quickly to 85. He was able to get so many hatcheries up and running as well. He delayed his own Evo 1-1 upgrades for the faster Spire, but he's getting them anyway. And like Demi he just can do whatever the hell he wants.
He just evened up the upgrades, yeah. It's one of the biggest advantages that ZAN had up until this point. No, missile turret will go down. Feels bad, man.
Exactly. Meanwhile, we do have a triple drop into the main base, but there is Ling Bane to stop it. The mutas go ham, and the mutas even kill the third.
Ouch. It wasn't enough for these mutas that they killed the entire mineral line. They had to get the CC as well. They had to get that tank as well. I'm just looking at the income of ZAN right now, Light, and there's no way he can produce anything. GG is called. Demi will take this series 2-0 and go up to face Oreo in the pre-qualifier. Clinical.
GG, well played. Demi was just allowed to basically max out as soon as possible. Yeah, I appreciate that ZAN did kind of switch gears again, and he was going for a different kind of composition, different kind of push in game number 2. But alas, you know, just giving us the Zerg player so much freedom is never a good idea. That variant of the 3 3cc 8 racks all in was also very different and very very like pressure, like
all in.
No, not all in, because it's always all in with 8 racks. But like,
but even more all in. No,
no, but like it lacked a lot of. It lacked a lot of map presence compared to the variant that Pez went for, the more standard variant.
Very tunnel visioned style. It's a very kind of tunnel vision style of the 3cc build, and I do like the aggressive plays that ZAN was making. Again, his control was pretty good. Even though I'm not completely convinced of the unit compositions, I mean, I still feel like he maybe lacked a little bit of support for his Marines. He made the most out of them. It's just, like you said, this is a style of 3cc that kind of pigeonholes you a little bit. You can only really play in one,
yeah.
You don't really have that, presence, like you were saying. You can't really, it's very inflexible in a way.
Yeah, again, it's something. It's the reason why I've never seen it before. No one does it. Like, delaying your medevacs by so much just means that, again, you just don't apply any pressure to the Zerg player, and that's just never a good idea. Maybe if you feel like your macro is going to be stronger than your opponent, and maybe if you think that your opponent is maybe going to overreact and maybe make a little bit of Ling Bane or Leon just to be safe and all this stuff, then sure, you can get away with that. But Demi is a little bit too wise for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, too wise and a little bit too crazy. I see ZAN in the chat here. Who makes mutas?
What do you mean? It's Demi. Why?
Demi
it'd be crazy if he didn't make mutas.
Why mutas? Well, cause Demi.
Shake him.
That's all the answer. That's all the answer you need, really.
Shaking my head, Zen. Shake. This is what I was talking about, I think, in game 1, where I'm like, maybe even the beginning of game 2, where I'm like, I don't know if ZAN even watches Demi. Like, I don't even know if he watches StarCraft. I don't know.
Whoa. Whoa.
Oceanic StarCraft, maybe I should say.
Okay, yeah. I was like, he's Masses 1. I mean, he's got to at least watch the game if he's signing up for it. Oh, that would be. It would be amazing if we suddenly see the next IEM champ. They get interviewed, and they're like, "So, who's your favorite player to watch?" And they're like, "You can watch players?"
I was like, "What is GSL? What is this?
What is GSL? What is DreamHack?" I came in today because the newspaper said that was an event in the stadium, so I signed up. I don't even know what this game is.
Oh god. Well, with that, we are now getting into our second series. Oh, and we have that ZvZ. But before we get into this, we do have a couple of updates on the bracket.
Oh, we do, don't we?